Hello everyone, welcome back to Half Magic Tarot. Today's pick a card reading is what will your future marriage be like? There are 4 piles to choose from here, and I suggest selecting your pile based on the pile marker that sparks a memory in you. So for example, I would choose pile 1, the gardener, because in the background of this card there is a bench, and this reminds me of when I was a kid and I would go to my great grandmother's house, and in her backyard she had this little almost like alcove where there was a bunch of flowers and a bench, and I remember just sitting there and really enjoying sitting in nature. So that is why I would select my pile. Feel free to pause the video now so you can select yours. I'll put the timestamps in the description down below, and let's get started. If you selected pile 1, the gardener, welcome to your reading. Let's find out what your future marriage will be like. So we're starting off your spread with the moon. And this is a really interesting pile. I get the feeling that a lot of the people that selected this pile feel as if though maybe they are hard to love, difficult to love. I think for a lot of you, you've had really negative experiences with romantic relationships in the past. And because of that, you kind of approach dating, marriage, romance with this very jaded vision. I think for a lot of you, you tend to be very closed off emotionally. And I think when you are attracted to someone, when you are romantically interested in someone, it kind of spikes your anxiety and makes you want to hide. Because there's this fear that if you are emotionally vulnerable, then you are going to get rejected. You're going to be told either explicitly or implicitly through the other person's actions that you are too much. Your emotions are too much to handle. You are, not the person that they need you to be or want you to be. And because of that, you are unworthy of love. And yeah, I know that's like a lot to start the reading off with, but that's really like the vibe that I get from this so strongly is that a lot of you, when you come into contact with your future spouse, this is kind of how you're acting. Like you are very scared because you don't want to be emotionally vulnerable. Like maybe you have been in past relationships, and leave yourself open to being hurt so much like you have. And the moon card is kind of this card that is fear of like expression of your emotions. It's anxiety. It's feeling like you need to keep parts of yourself hidden. And so I feel like in the very beginning of your relationship with your future spouse, you are kind of like being a little secretive or keeping your cards close to your chest. They might even be confused like whether or not you like them, because I think maybe you are really like a lover girl, lover boy, lover non-binary, whatever. And in the past, you've kind of overstated that, or you gave so much love and affection to people who didn't return it, or used your love and affection for them as like a weapon against you. And so I think you really enter this relationship with your future spouse being overly cautious. And so your future spouse could be a Pisces or have a prominent Pisces placement in their natal chart. That would be their sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, Venus sign. But Pisces is an interesting sign because it's associated with Neptune, which is like the planet of illusion. And it can also be the planet of romance. So there's almost like this fairy tale mystical quality to your future spouse, where even though you are very scared, you do kind of want them to unravel you. Like you want them to know you. You're just very afraid of it happening. But I think this person, through their kind of like radical emotional availability, really does allow you to settle in and relax into this relationship. And again, this is not something that changes overnight. Like I said, this is about your future marriage. So I think this is like an issue when you first meet this person, but even in your marriage, this is going to be something that maybe you have to fight occasionally. Like, healing is not linear, but I think that your relationship with this person really does allow you to not be so pessimistic when it comes to love or giving your heart to another person or putting your trust into another person. And that's being reflected in these next two cards here. So we had the Moon, and then we have the Page of Cups. And the Page of Cups, one of my favorite cards in all of tarot, because it's like just everything that's awesome about the world. It's beauty, it's love, it's romance, it's creativity, it's art, it's magic, it's all of these wonderful things. And especially with your future spouse kind of having this like Piscean energy, which really to me is also creative, dreamy, romantic. I think this is how they approach you, where they are like very kind to you. They're very romantic. Probably this person does a lot of like little gestures to try to show you that they care. Like they're the kind of person to, pick up flowers at the gas station or the grocery store and bring them to you. They're the kind of person to, like if you have to give a presentation at work or at school, they'll text you in the morning and be like, hey, I hope you do really well in that presentation. They're the kind of person that would send you a picture of like a really cute dog that they saw out in public and say, this reminded me of you. Like this person wants you to know that they really do value your presence in their life and that they really care about you, and that like they look at the world like when you're in love, they say you have like rose-colored glasses and everything's like more romantic. I think this person, even when they're not around you, they're going through the world thinking, oh, how would my person think about this or feel about this? Like you are kind of always on their mind, and they really make an effort to let that be known to you. And even if you look at this card, Cinnamoroll, who is the dog that looks like a bunny on this card, is kind of reaching out very happily to this cat that's sitting in a cup. And so that feels like the energy here is where maybe you're like the black cat energy, you're a little aloof, you're a little standoffish, you're like, I want you to love me and I want you to touch me, but not too much. You know how cats are, where they're like, I want to be around you, I want you to want to touch me, but you don't get to touch me. That's, I feel like, how you kind of are in the beginning, where you really do like this person, but you're so afraid, or you're kind of like standoffish, and they're like, oh my God, just let me love you. I like you so much. Like they are reaching for you. They're like, you're so cute. I just want to cuddle you. I just want to squeeze you. I just want to do everything with you. And I think through this person's romance, through this person's gestures, through all the little things that this person does for you, like it's not just words for them, they put it into action. And because of that, you come into this Page of Swords energy within your marriage, which is someone who is not afraid to speak their mind. This is someone who finds it easier to communicate, who feels comfortable expressing themselves and their feelings, who doesn't feel like they are, too much, who feels like their opinion, their thoughts are valuable and worthy of being shared, which is a stark difference from this Moon in the beginning, where you have so much anxiety over just talking to this person almost. And I get it. Like I said, I would choose this pile. So I relate to this. I mean, I feel, I just remember like when I was younger, I was in a relationship with someone, and if I was having an issue with maybe something they said or a way that they were behaving, I was kind of afraid to express that, because then I thought, well, this person's okay with it, right? Like, they hurt me. They don't think it's an issue, obviously, because it hurt me and not them. But if I bring it up, then I'm bringing attention to this conflict that we have to resolve. And I don't want to be the person who is always creating issues when we could just move on. But if you feel that way, and I think a lot of people do, just let it be known that you might think that you are creating a peaceful environment by not bringing up things that have hurt you. But in actuality, you're just internalizing the pain. So only you have to deal with it. And that person can go on just, acting and feeling however. And that's not really the foundation for a healthy relationship. So this feels like you really feel safe expressing your feelings to this person. So hypothetically, if this person did hurt your feelings or they did something that you didn't like, you would feel comfortable being like, hey, that wasn't cool with me. That really upset me. Here's why. And this person would listen to you. They're very receptive to what you have to say. They want to hear you out and they listen to what you have to say. And I always say the best apology is change behavior. And I feel like that is what your future spouse is on. This is not someone who's just like going to try to argue with you about your feelings or be like, yeah, and then just ignore it and continue repeating the patterns or whatever. This is someone who really takes into account what you have to say and applies it to the relationship, because their ultimate goal is to continue to strengthen the relationship with you. And because of this is just such a healing connection for you. And I think you really find your voice almost through this relationship, and not just like within the relationship or within romantic relationships. I think you feel a lot more comfortable even expressing yourself in friendships, or maybe you have conflicts, or at work. Whereas maybe before you didn't have the confidence to do that because you felt like you were just being difficult. And so this person really pushes you to advocate for yourself in a way that maybe you weren't prior to this marriage or this relationship. And that's also being reflected in the next card we have here, which is the Star. And if you know anything about tarot, the card, like sequentially, that comes right before the Star is a Tower. And the Tower, it's like one of the scariest cards to get in a lot of readings, because it's about kind of like shocking loss, shocking changes. But the Star coming right after it, it's this card about hope and renewal and healing. And so to me, this is like, yes, you have had adverse experiences in the past. Yes, you kind of had to build yourself back up from the ground up. But the reward for that is that you get to come into this relationship where you feel so seen emotionally. You feel really like cared for physically, materially. And I don't just mean money. I mean like, this person, like I said, they're a person of action. They're a person of change behavior. This is not just words. This is not just feeling. This is someone who shows you that they intend to take care of you and want to grow with you and work with you and build this relationship with you. And so the Star is, again, this card of healing. And so I think this is a very healing connection, not just for you, but also for your future spouse. I get the feeling that your future spouse is maybe someone who really enjoys taking care of other people, and that might stem from something from their past. Maybe they felt like kind of like powerless as a child. Maybe they felt like they watched their parents have like a really tumultuous relationship and they couldn't do anything about it because they were a child, or they just weren't able to like help the people that they wanted to help emotionally. But now that they're an adult, they're like, I'm going to make sure that I'm like the best partner I can be. I'm going to make sure I show up for the people that I care about, so that way I can almost like step into this role of the caregiver that I wish I had when I was a kid. And so again, very healing connection, very healing relationship for both of you. And also with the Star here, I think that the two of you are very encouraging of each other. Like you really push each other to go after your dreams and your desires, because the Star can also be a card that's about wish fulfillment. So if you're like, I really always wanted to open up my own crafting business, this person would really push you to do it. And so I think a lot of your goals that you thought maybe were far-fetched come true because of your marriage to this person, because you have their support behind you. And I'm also getting that you two as a couple kind of have like the air of like celebrity, which is not to say that this person is famous or that you're famous, but like people really do kind of see you as couple goals. Like you're you're just the couple that everyone wants to be. Like, people are a little jealous of you. Maybe you look really good together. I'm also picking up that you two can have kind of like complementary style, and it can be like a little off center. So maybe like a little different than what people normally dress like or wear in the town you're from. So an example of that would be maybe you're both kind of like alternative style, or maybe you're both very into fashion, and so you're both kind of like full glam and the people around you are like wearing sweatpants every day. You know what I mean? So there's this thing about like standing out, definitely, but in a complementary way to each other. So I think you feel very confident in expressing yourselves because of this partnership, because you have someone else who, like, you look good together. Like, of course we both have to show out. Of course we both, dress up and have like, are not afraid of expressing ourselves. And finally, at the very end of your spread, we have this Four of Pentacles, which is interesting because Four of Pentacles, especially in a love relationship, can be about this fear of emotional vulnerability, which, like I said, goes with the moon. But I feel like, even though this card isn't in reverse, I do feel like this is almost like a message of what the reverse meaning would be, of being able to let go of the need for complete control and allowing yourself to fall into the relationship and trust that your heart will be taken care of by this person. And, another little message that I'm getting from this is that your person could be quite protective of you in a way. So, especially, like I said, if you kind of have this past that made it very difficult for you to be in a relationship or trust people, this person is like very understanding of that, and they feel like very protective of you. They want to like take care of you and heal that part of you, basically. But they can also be kind of protective in the way that they get a little jealous. Like, if you're, out and someone maybe comes up and flirts with you, this person might like put their arm around you or come up and introduce themselves as like, oh, I'm this person's spouse, just to make it known. They can be quite possessive, but I'm not getting in like a toxic way. This doesn't feel like, someone who is scary. It's like kind of cute. Like, their jealousy, I think, would make you laugh or make you smile. But overall, I would say this person has like a very calming energy, very like understanding, very empathetic, very patient. And that's also reflected in the pile marker that you selected, which is the gardener. And this card is all about how relationships take work, basically. If you want to enjoy the garden, if you want to enjoy all the beautiful flowers and the butterflies that come with it, and maybe the fruit that you grow, if you want to be able to sit in nature and appreciate all the beauty, you do have to put some work in. You have to plant the seeds, and you have to water them, and you have to pull out the weeds, and you can't rush that. You have to be patient and understanding and know that, there's seasons. Like, sometimes flowers are in bloom and sometimes there's not. And I feel like that's this person's approach to your relationship, because like I said, I really think at the beginning of this relationship, you're very afraid of this person emotionally. You're really afraid of being emotionally vulnerable. But they're very patient with you, and they take their time, and they just kind of consistently show you how much they like you. And through that, you continue to open up and heal. And as I said, also, it's not linear. It's not like, you're going to wake up one day and be completely fine and like trusting and, not have an avoidant attachment or an insecure attachment style or whatever. It's like you are definitely going to feel a lot more comfortable with this person, but there's going to be times where you get a little insecure or you feel upset, and this person is like okay with that. They're like, I understand why you feel that way, but I just want to reassure you that you are safe with me. Like, and if you need time to think it over, if you need time to grow, if you need more time to heal or feel comfortable before you feel like you can shine within this relationship or be your full self, I will still be here like supporting you. And so again, you feel so nurtured by this person. So for your romance angels card, the first one we pulled is new love, which says a new person has stirred your romantic feelings. So for 99% of you, I do feel like this is someone that you have not met yet. This is a brand new person, which kind of makes sense because, again, I think you're very afraid of this person when they first come in because you're like, whoa, I was so happy being by myself because I'm not being like triggered by, having to be emotionally vulnerable. And then this person comes in and I really like them. And that scares me. And so it does feel like kind of a surprise to you when this person comes into your life. Now, if you're watching this and you're in a relationship, I think for most of you, probably the person you're with is not the person that you're going to marry. And I think if you're watching this and you're in a relationship, you probably know that in your gut. If this does not sound like the person you're dating, girl or guy, non-binary person, well, that's not the person. That's just not the person, because your future spouse is someone who's going to be very healing. Your future spouse is not going to be someone who is triggering, these feelings, these like abandonment wounds, whatever. So, for a lot of you, most of you, this is a brand new person, someone that you have not dated yet, maybe not met yet. And for your last romance angels card, we got pay attention to the red flags, which says the signs are cautioning you. And so I think this is more about your red flags. So this is really like almost like, a warning to you that yes, your ability to like cut off your emotions or be very like hyper independent and push people away has protected you a lot in the past. Like it has allowed you to kind of avoid heartbreak. Like if you're someone who's like, I'm not going to get emotionally invested, I'm not going to let myself be vulnerable. Yeah, that's true. Like it probably did help you not get hurt. But also like at some point, the effective coping mechanism becomes like a debilitating crutch. Okay, so now you are kind of like using it as an excuse to not open yourself up to the possibility of being known. In order to like fully experience this relationship, in order to fully experience the love that this person has to offer, you have to open yourself up to the possibility of being hurt. And again, I don't think this person is trying to hurt you. I don't think this person is going to hurt you. But I think that's going to be really like difficult for you when you first meet this person or get with this person. And so I don't think this is saying pay attention to the red flags in your marriage. I think this is pay attention to your red flags. How are you an agent in your own suffering? And I think this person really allows you to reflect on that and to heal these parts of you that, clear yourself of these habits of pushing people away that are no longer serving you, because you can rely on this person. And once you do, you really open yourself up to this very beautiful, healing, encouraging relationship and marriage. So that is it for your readings, my pile one. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Talk to you again soon. Take care. If you selected pile 2, love, welcome to your reading. Let's find out what your future marriage will be like. We're starting off your spread with the 2 of Pentacles. And this is interesting. I feel like there is a lot of like kind of grand romantic gestures in your future marriage. Like there's a lot of kind of like the rom-com situations, like showing up at your door with a bouquet of flowers. But on the other hand, there's also the very practical aspects of this, because to have like a sustainable, healthy, long-term relationship, you can't just have one or the other. It can't be all excitement, all of these grand romantic gestures all the time. There's got to be some comfort in the mundane. Otherwise, someone's going to get bored, right? Or someone's going to feel like there's no romance left. And so it's really important to strike that balance between being comfortable and the day-to-day kind of just abstractions, random things you have to do, and also still finding time to have that spark in your romantic relationship. And I really think that is what this card is indicating to me about your future marriage, because the Two of Pentacles is a card that's all about balance. It's about riding those waves, the ups and downs, the highs, the lows, whatever it is. And I think that's, represented physically, artistically in this card. If you look in the background, the waves of the ocean are kind of going up and down, and there's a boat that's in one of the divots, and there's a boat that's at its peak. And to me, this represents your relationship withstanding both, the times when maybe it's not that exciting. Maybe it's like you both go to work, you come home, you make dinner, you clean the house. Like there's nothing too exciting going on, but you're still enjoying having built that life together. And then you're also doing these really fun, great romantic things. Those are the highs. Maybe, you still find time for date night. You still find time to go on vacation. You still find time to remind each other why you initially fell for each other, why you love each other. So the romance is really being kept alive in here, but you're also very comfortable with each other. And I'm being reminded of there's a quote in what I think it's from Fleabag, where one of the kind of side characters is talking about how I think his wife has recently divorced him maybe, or they're getting separated. And he says that he wishes that he could just wash her favorite mug and put it up in the cabinet and then watch her drink coffee from it the next morning, which is so simple, but it's those little acts of day-to-day routine of being able to enjoy that to each other, of being able to make each other's little pieces of your life easier, is something that is really going to be able to sustain the love in this relationship. Because I do think that this is a very lasting marriage. This is definitely long term. And, I just want to be realistic, right? A lot of marriages do lead to divorce, but I'm not really seeing that here. I think this really has such a strong foundation. And I think both you and your future spouse have such an ability to, again, maintain the balance that's needed between the mundane, the practical, the things that you need to do to sustain a relationship or a life together, and also keeping that spark alive. And so, there's just so much here about really feeling balance with this person. I think you might also feel balanced in personality. Maybe this person is the opposite of you in a lot of ways, and you even each other out. For example, if you're very much a homebody, and sometimes you're I need to get out of my comfort zone more, this person would be hey, why don't we go take, this cooking class together on Saturday? And it'll be an excuse for us to get out of the house. It'll be something fun we can do together, and you go and you really enjoy it. But it's maybe they're way more outgoing, but you're hey, let's just have a day to relax and recover. And they're wow, it didn't occur to me that I could just have, a lazy day where we sit inside and watch a movie and cuddle, and I really like this. So there's the balancing of personalities here also. And we have both the Knight of Cups and the Page of Pentacles next in your spread, which to me represents those two polarities that are being balanced. The Knight of Cups is this card that's all about those kind of grand romantic gestures. It's about emotional openness, offering love. It's passion. It's the poetry of the world. And so this is again, I think there's a lot of romance in this relationship, even years in. This is someone who would surprise you, who would bring you your coffee in bed in the morning. This is someone who might write you love letters. This is someone who might write you poetry. This is someone who sends you a song because they say that it reminds them of you, the lyrics. This is someone who gives really good presents. This is someone who may love to give you compliments on the way you look, especially if you try something new with your appearance. Wow, you did your hair really well today. Or the outfit that you're going to wear to work is amazing. And I also think that this person is really willing to like climb mountains for you. This person is willing to go out of their way to make you feel seen and appreciated. Like I just remembered, I don't know if it was like a TikTok or something, but some guy was like, my wife's pregnant. She's really craving, I don't know what it was, maybe like a burrito or something from this very specific place that we went to one time, but the restaurant is like 2 hours away. So I'm going to drive 2 hours to go get her a burrito and come back. It's like that kind of thing. Like your future spouse would do that for you. And not just because you were pregnant, regardless of whether or not you end up having children with this person, they want to show you that they listen to the things that you say you like, and they really want to show you that they are putting effort into making you feel appreciated, making you feel loved. And with the Page of Pentacles, this is a card that's all about like really realizing potential, being ambitious, working towards something, not being afraid to put in the work. So hand in hand with the Knight of Cups, this is, again, finding that great balance between maybe someone who's all gesture and no substance and someone who is like, no, I'm going to be here in the good times and bad times. Page of Pentacles is someone who works hard for their goals, even if they're set back. And so they really see this relationship as something that needs to be invested in. This is not something where, you know, maybe they're dating and they're like your dream person while you're dating, and then you get married and they're like, well, I have you now. Like now I don't really have to impress you anymore. So they stop taking you on dates or like trying to be like overly nice to you or whatever. No, this person's like, this is just the beginning. Like I want to continuously choose love, not as just a feeling that I tell you that I have, but as an action that I am living by in this relationship and in my life throughout the entire marriage. And so you feel like this person is very reliable and trustworthy. You don't question where you stand with this person emotionally. You feel like they're very sincere with their feelings, and they show you that through acts of service, through gift giving, through words of affirmation, like every day. And with the Chariot next, this is almost a reiteration of that Two of Pentacles. And I see it almost as like a progression. So we start off with the Two of Pentacles, which is the minor arcana. And then we have those two cards that I think are like the two modes of the relationship that are being balanced, the Knight of Cups and the Page of Pentacles and then the Chariot. So this is like the progression. The longer you're together, you go from Two of Pentacles, minor arcana, to almost like the major arcana version of it, the Chariot, which is a card that's also about balance, but it's victory, success. It's the things that you have balanced have made it easier for you to go longer, to have long-term success within this relationship. And I'm also getting that you two could travel quite a lot together. So maybe this person likes to surprise you with like a weekend getaway to a nearby city, a nearby country, a nearby state, whatever makes sense for you. I'm also getting that this person could be a Cancer or have a prominent Cancer placement in their natal chart. That would be their sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, or Venus sign. Another zodiac sign I'm picking up on here to a lesser extent is Libra. So again, they could have a Libra sun, moon, rising, or Venus. But both of those are cardinal signs, meaning they're kind of like the leaders of the zodiac. So your future spouse has a lot of leadership qualities, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're so successful in this relationship, because they don't give up. They have that Page of Pentacles quality of ambition and perseverance, and they have drive. Like they know what they want. What they want is you, and they want to have a happy life with you. They want to see you satisfied. They want you to feel, emotionally held by them. And so it's very important to them to continue to grow and lean into, the love in this relationship. Everything that they can do to really make this as attainable, as beautiful, as emotionally open as possible. With the King of Swords at the end of your spread here, I do think that your future spouse is a very intelligent person. They're very well spoken, and they're very good at communication. And they're very honest, but I don't think they're blunt. It's like they will tell you like if something is bothering them, but they never use their words in such a way where they are trying to like hurt you. Like there are people who will be like, "Oh, I'm just honest," but really they're just dickheads, like they're like, "Oh, I'm honest," but it's like, "Yeah, but your words, you're intentionally trying to hurt me. It's not that you're expressing yourself, it's that you're trying to hurt someone else. You're not approaching this as if it's like, hey, here's what I'm thinking and I want resolution." You're approaching it as, I want you to feel bad or I want to hurt you or whatever it is. And your future spouse is not like that. This person is a very good communicator. They are very honest, but they really value like diplomacy. They're very well spoken and they really do kind of like listen to both sides. The King of Swords is a card that can represent the zodiac sign Libra, which is why I said earlier that this person could be a Libra or have a prominent Libra placement in their natal chart. If you know anything about astrology, Libra is represented by the scales of justice. So it's like very, even. It's like very fair across the board. This person's very fair with you. But if you have an argument, they're going to like tell you, hey, that upset me. So again, I think you will feel very comfortable also having very clear and open communication with this person because they have been so honest and open with you and you don't feel like they're judging you or they're going to weaponize your words against you because this is a very fair person. This person also really values beauty. And I don't mean just physically, although maybe they do find you very attractive, very beautiful, very handsome. And so they probably do give you a lot of compliments on your appearance. Like I said before, I do think this person likes to point out, like, if you've changed something about your appearance or you're trying something different, they will be like, hey, that looks awesome. Definitely this person reminds you that they are very attracted to you, but it's not just about physical beauty in you, in people. This person values beauty, like, in the world. This person, if you're going on a walk together and you're walking down the sidewalk and someone has planted flowers on the side, they will stop and look at the flowers, literally. This person might really enjoy going to like an art museum and looking at the art. This person could really appreciate interior design, fashion, things like that. They just like beauty. They like when things are beautiful. They might really enjoy going to like nice restaurants where the food's plated really well. They might enjoy like cooking shows or competition shows that have something to do with like fashion, like Project Runway, something like that. Like they just enjoy watching people create beauty within the world. Which makes sense because I think this whole relationship is like an exercise in fostering beauty and love in the world. And that's coming through in the pile marker that you selected, which is love. And this card is really about how sometimes people have a very shallow view of love. So, when you have seen a couple and they're like, oh, we love each other so much. We've been together X amount of years. And you're like, are you sure? Because every time I see you guys, you act like you hate each other. Or I've never seen you like be happy around each other. Or you guys are like kind of mean to each other, actually. Because I've seen that. Like I think of my grandparents, like they were together for a really long time. And quite frankly, I don't think my grandfather treated my grandmother very well. And I think she put up with it because she thought that was what she was supposed to do because she was born in a time before women were allowed to have their own bank accounts. And it's just, like I don't think that is the kind of love that makes sense to me. And this card is a reminder that love has much more depth than maybe just like an unfounded loyalty, feeling like you have to be with someone because you decided to, because you said that you love them, and not because you are actually building a beautiful life together. Because some people do think that. Some people think that love is loyalty to your own suffering. But in my opinion, Love is like this force in the universe that allows us to fill our cups, our emotional cups, fill our hearts, find connection, be sensual within the world sensuous, allow ourselves to see beauty in the mundane. And I think that's also the attitude of your future spouse and kind of like the overall theme of your marriage, which is one in which you are really practicing living in love as an action, one that is not shallow, one that is true. And when I say love, I don't mean just romantic love. I mean, through your marriage with this person, you are able to live in a loving way. And that can be with your friends. Like maybe because of your marriage with this person, your relationships with your friends improve. You feel like you are better able to make time for your friends or show them that you care. Like you become better at remembering their birthdays or making sure that you set aside, 1 week in a month where you go and hang out with your friends. Or you live love even just in your day-to-day routine. Like you make sure, okay, how can I live in such a way where I am living in the vibration of love for myself? Maybe you make it a point to go on a walk every day because you're like, it calms my nervous system. I need some exercise, but I don't really enjoy like going to the gym. This is how I'm going to live in the vibration of love for myself. Or I'm going to make sure that my house is clean because I feel better when my house is clean and it's more beautiful. Or even at work, like I am not going to complete tasks out of like stress or feeling like I need to prove something. I'm going to do them because I'm excited to be an important member of like the ecosystem of my team at work. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like a reframing of your mindset of where you're approaching everything as a way to better connect to the frequency of love in the universe around you. And I think that's largely because of your marriage to this person. So this, I think being married to this person just makes you so much happier, so much more generous, so much more connected to the earth and the world and your emotions, your senses, and that's really beautiful. So for your first Romance Angels card, we got romantic feelings, and this says your feelings are real and worth exploring. So you might already know who this person is. And some of you just might have a crush on them. Maybe you think like, oh, I think that person's really cool, but nothing's come of it yet. So this is almost like an encouragement of, yeah, it's probably this person that you're thinking of if you have someone in mind. But for others of you, this is just saying like, this is almost a reiteration of that Knight of Cups, that this is a very romantic, generous person who really is clear about their feelings for you. And your second Romance Angels card is Attraction, which says you attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. So to me, that really goes with that love card and that King of Swords kind of living in that Libra energy of being able to find beauty in the world around you, of being able to find love, not just romantically, but in the world around you, living in love as an action. I think the more you attune to that, the more quickly you are going to invite this person into your life. Like the more quickly you are going to come into union with this person. And as you continue to grow in your relationship with this person, that ability to live in a very sensuous, beautiful, loving way is just going to become stronger. I think you're just going to become happier, and you're going to have like so much to be grateful for, so much to be appreciative of the longer you stay with this person, which is really beautiful. So congrats, my pile twos. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Talk to you again soon. Take care. If you selected pile 3, abundance, welcome to your reading. Let's figure out what your future marriage will be like. So we're starting off your spread with the 7 of Wands. And what I'm getting is that when this relationship first starts, it's kind of rocky, but not because of your feelings for your spouse or their feelings for you, but because of external circumstances. So for a lot of you, this is other people. This could be friends or family members who disapprove of this connection. It could be ex-lovers, ex-partners, ex-flings that are still kind of like hanging in the periphery, or even just circumstances. Like I'm getting for a lot of you, maybe you meet and there's this kind of immediate connection, but maybe one of you is about to move, or one of you has to go take care of your sick parent, or one of you just got out of a long-term relationship. Or maybe when you meet, you're both attracted to each other, but one of you is in a relationship and that person's like not the cheating type, but maybe the relationship is failing. And so it feels like there's kind of this just period where you're both interested in each other, but you're not coming together because there are these obstacles. And for some of you, I'm hearing specifically that this could be if your future partner is of like a higher social class than you. Like if they come from an old money family, there might be specifically from their family not approving you because you do not come from like a wealthy background like them. But your future spouse obviously really likes you regardless. It's just kind of almost like arguing with their family, trying to get them to be like, hey, but I really like this person. And with the Ace of Cups here, I do think this is, an immediate attraction between you and your future spouse. And there's a lot of like very innocent flirtation. There's a lot of like excitement to talk to each other, to see each other. And I don't think that goes away when you're actually married. It's like, you feel a little giddy. You feel a little flirtatious. This is a very beautiful card. And it's interesting because the series of cards we have here are Ace of Cups, 10 of Wands, and Queen of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is the very first card in the suit of cups, right? The Queen of Cups is kind of at the very end of the suit of cups. There's only one card that's technically like higher up. And so if you look at this as a journey, it's going from this very new beginning, these just feelings of like flirtation, of romantic interest, to Queen of Cups, which is a card that can be about, romantic mastery, emotional openness, compassion, loyalty, this real like emotional vulnerability, ability to understand each other, a lot of empathy for each other, really connecting on a deep emotional level. And so when I see like a kind of a series going from the very bottom of a suit to the very top of the suit, and there's a card in the middle, I see this as like, this is what it's going to take to get you from point A to point B. So in the middle, we have the 10 of Wands, which is interesting. This is a card that's all about having to put in really hard work. You can see on this card, Cinnamoroll is carrying these 10 wands, the 10 sticks, by himself. It's about having to put in hard work to kind of reach the destination. And so this is not like an easy relationship, which is not to say it's because of each other. I think you and your future spouse love each other very much, but there is a lot of outside interference that does make you both have to really fight for this relationship. And, this reading is for your future marriage. So this is not just a relationship. I think this is something that goes on throughout your marriage. So for example, maybe one of you has a really toxic family. Maybe one of you has an obsessive ex-partner who keeps trying to break you two up. Maybe you have just kind of like a complicated history or complicated past, or one of you has to figure things out financially, or maybe one of you has children that you have to put first, or you just kind of have like unexpected circumstances. When I'm watching, listening to this pile, this has reminded me so much of like Gilmore Girls, if you've ever seen that, specifically Lorelai and Luke, who kind of have this epic love story with a lot of ups and downs, where Luke is really pining after Lorelai for a long time. He really likes her, and she doesn't not like him, but she doesn't really allow herself to think that way because she doesn't want to ruin the friendship. And also she's involved with taking care of her business and taking care of her daughter and trying to, she's dating other people and she just doesn't realize. And then when they finally do come together, there's like these other obstacles. Like he finds out that he has a child that he has to take care of. Sorry for the spoilers if you haven't seen that, if you're planning on watching it. But, it feels like even though there's a lot of love there and there's a lot of compatibility there are these obstacles that you really have to work through. But I think ultimately the obstacles in working through them and getting through them is what makes your relationship stronger. Like I said, that's how you get from this beginning flirtation to this Queen of Cups energy of just really understanding and nurturing each other, being there for each other, being each other's like rock to lean on. And also with the Queen of Cups here, I'm getting that your future spouse could be a Cancer or have a prominent Cancer placement in their natal chart. So that could be their sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, or Venus sign. And Cancers are a cardinal sign. They're represented by the crab. So you think of a crab, like a hermit crab, they have this hard shell, but they have their soft little meaty insides. And so that's kind of what a Cancer is like. They can be very persistent in getting what they want, but they also are very sensitive. They're very open-hearted. And so that's the vibe of this relationship. It takes a lot of persistence. It takes a lot of directed energy to get past these obstacles or kind of ignore the naysayers or the outside circumstances that are trying to separate you and your future spouse. But ultimately, the trials and the tribulations of this relationship, of these external forces, is what brings you two closer together and really reaffirms the love that you have for each other. And I also think that, especially if it's people specifically who are trying to like break you two up or don't want you to be together, I think just seeing you two consistently choose each other, even when it would be maybe easier to just separate, that makes people come around and like believe in your love more. And also with the 8 of Wands at the end of your spread here, this is the flames of passion, the flames of desire. And so there is a ton of physical attraction in this relationship. This is like a very sexy couple, but also I kind of see this as like the banter card. Like this is two people who are really witty, who really make each other laugh, have a lot of fun talking to each other. You feel like you can just talk to this person about anything. You can get really deep. You can talk about your trauma and you feel really seen and understood. You can talk about your favorite music and like debate it. You can talk about, anything with this person. You just feel very comfortable with them. And I think that's one of the reasons why this relationship really perseveres. Now, for your pile marker, you selected abundance. And of course, there's material abundance, which would be like wealth, having a lot of money. So your future spouse could be someone who does have material abundance and material wealth, which is kind of goes with that message I said earlier, that for some of you, it could be that their family maybe is just historically more wealthy. And because you did not grow up with that kind of financial privilege, they maybe are hesitant about you because they don't want someone who is maybe taking advantage of their family member for like financial gain, which I don't think you are. But, I think maybe they are hesitant to accept you in the beginning until they can really suss out what your true intentions are with their family member. Which again, like I said, I think just them seeing you continue to persist and love this person and grow with this person makes them really come around. But again, not all of you, that will be the case. It won't always be about the finances. But I am getting that for a lot of you, you do have kind of like a rich future spouse. And because of that, you have like a very abundant marriage. Like maybe you own a lot of nice things. You build a really nice home together. But there's other forms of abundance too, right? I mean, that's what this card is about. You can have an abundance of health, an abundance of love, an abundance of friendship. an abundance of experience. And so I think being with this person really allows you to create new forms of abundance in your life. And I'm getting specifically for like experiences, especially with this Eight of Wands here, because I think you both have so much excitement and passion and curiosity about like trying new things together. So for a lot of you, maybe you travel a lot with your future spouse. You try new things, like you try new hobbies, you try new restaurants, and because of that, you gain all of this experience that you wouldn't have previously had. Or you have someone who's kind of your like intellectual match, and so you can discuss, art and philosophy and books that you've read, and you feel just really understood by this person in a way that I don't think you have in your previous relationships. You feel very wealthy with love, with understanding with this person, most definitely. So for your romance angels cards, the first one I pulled was Release Your Ex, which says the time has come to clear your energy. So for some of you, one of the obstacles, one of the reasons why, you have like someone kind of lurking, trying to break you and this person up. Maybe it's your ex, or maybe it's their ex. There's just someone from the past that is disapproving of this relationship. So probably for a lot of you, if you have an ex that's like this, you already know. Like maybe you pop out on social media with this person who's going to become your future spouse, and then your ex kind of goes crazy, and they're like, posting them on one of those like Facebook dating pages and being like trying to make it seem like your person's cheating, so you break up with them or something like that. But that's kind of, an extreme thing. Or maybe when you meet this person, you are still dating someone who will become your ex because they are not your future spouse, obviously. But it's like you have to decide to let that person go. Or maybe you're still hung up on an ex currently. And maybe you came into this reading hoping that I would describe your ex as your future spouse, and what I'm telling you is no, this is a completely new person, and actually you need to let go of your ex and cut off communication with them in order to let this incoming relationship with your future spouse thrive. So that is just some advice for some of you. The second romance angels card I pulled is Engagement, which says your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. So obviously this is your future spouse, you're going to get married, so engagement makes sense. But I think this really goes with that Ace of Cups to the Queen of Cups, which is to say that there's a lot of growth and ascension in love that comes with this relationship. So the longer you stay together, the more that you go through together, the more emotionally connected you become, the more reliant on each other you become. Like you really can put your full trust in your future spouse, and you don't doubt their feelings for you because they're really willing to like go the distance and stand up for you and go through difficult things in order to be with you. And you just feel very seen with this person. But again, there's like a very lighthearted quality to this too with the Eight of Wands. I think you two genuinely have a lot of fun together, even though you have to like overcome some crazy stuff. Actually, I just heard in my mind that maybe one of you gets sick. So one of you has maybe like an accident, one of you has some kind of illness that you have to work through, but this person is like there with you through that. This person like really takes care of you, or you really take care of this person, and that's really wonderful. So this is just a very loving, giving, generous, but also fun pile. So I think that's, you continue to grow with your future spouse. It's got ups and downs, but the downs aren't really because of your future spouse. It's because of these external circumstances, but it only brings you closer together. And because I think you've been to those dark places, you both are able to really find levity within your relationship. Like the best part of your day is sometimes just like laughing together, which is really beautiful. So congrats, my pile threes. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Talk to you again soon. Take care. If you selected pile 4, resolving conflict, welcome to your reading. let's find out what your future marriage will be like. So we're starting off your spread with the Eight of Swords. And I'm picking up two messages from this. So the first is, I think for a select few of you, the person that you're going to marry is someone that you have kind of been like set up with. And I think for some of you, this has to do maybe with like your culture or your religion. So for example, let's say that you are someone who is like very Christian, and basically like your parents decided, okay, you can marry this other person that goes to our church, but it's all been kind of like approved by them. And because you're very religious, it's not like you can just hang out with this person that in a way that maybe like non-religious people can't. Like you're not spending a lot of alone time with this person that you're going to marry. Which reminds me of my brother, who he became like very Christian, which we were not raised that way at all. And he got married a few years ago, and his wife and him had their very first kiss on their wedding day. Like they were not allowed to be alone together at all up until that point. And so, yes, they like hung out in group settings. They spent time together like at church or around each other's families, but they went from not ever being alone together to basically living together immediately, which is this huge jump. And so the Eight of Swords, as you can see in this card, Cinnamoroll in this card is blindfolded. So there's this feeling of like kind of going into the marriage a little bit blind, or not maybe knowing everything about this person yet. It could even be that maybe you meet this person and you just get engaged and you get married very quickly. But for a lot of you, I am feeling like there's like a religious or cultural aspect to this. For others of you, it could even be like maybe you are currently young and you meet this person very young, and as you grow as a person, as you get older, you change a lot. And so it feels like your role within the relationship or your point of view on the relationship changes a lot over the course of the marriage because of that. So the second message that I'm getting from it is that I think when you enter into this relationship, you are someone who maybe has a lack of like self-confidence and your own ability to like build the dream relationship that you want. Let me explain what I mean by that. So in this card, as I said, Cinnamoroll is blindfolded, and kind of the traditional meaning of the Eight of Swords is that, yes, the person on the card is blindfolded. They're surrounded by these eight swords. They may feel stuck, and you can see in the background here, there's this cloud that has like a castle on it. So Cinnamoroll, the dog in this card, may feel like, oh, I'm stuck. I don't know how to get out of here. I'm just surrounded by all these like sharp objects. I really want to get to this like beautiful place in the clouds where I can feel at home, but I can't get there. But the truth is that, he could just remove the blindfold and then he'd be like, oh, I really only just have to like walk around the swords. It's not that big of a deal. Because the Eight of Swords is kind of like self-imposed limitations. So I think for a lot of you, you almost, you feel very loyal to this relationship and this marriage, but at the same time, I think a lot of you also feel powerless to maybe like the whims and the moods of your future spouse. And I'll be frank here, like this is not a really, truly wonderful, happy reading. So if you wanted me to just give you fluff, well, I'm sorry, this is not the reading for you. This is like very real, but I also think that's a reflection of what life is like, right? Like, not everyone is going to have a fairy tale rom-com romance. That's just not realistic. Most people do have to have like conflict. I mean, every single long-term relationship, it would be weird if you didn't have conflict. It's just about how you handle that and how you persevere through that. And I do think that there is a lot of loyalty in this relationship, in this marriage in particular. So, maybe that is something you value more than just like romance or being swept off your feet. So if that's the case, then yeah, this is probably the reading for you. But don't shoot the messenger if you came here and you wanted me to give you, puppies and butterflies, and that's not what it is. So the next card we have here is the Hierophant, which again kind of ties into the cultural and the religious aspect of this, because the Hierophant can represent those kind of long-lasting institutions like religion. I mean, usually like in a traditional tarot deck, the person being depicted on this card is the Pope. And so this could be a relationship that is really rooted in religion. You could really be tied by your faith if you were a religious person. And maybe you meet at the church, at the synagogue, at the mosque, whatever it is, you go there together, and that is what really binds you to, or maybe that's the reason why you met or why you were kind of like pushed toward each other. But I think that is kind of like the mainstay in your relationship. You really center this thing that you both value. And even if you're not religious, this is like a very traditional relationship, because the Hierophant can be a card that's about tradition and these long-lasting legacies. So this can be a very traditional relationship in the sense of like even gender roles. If you're a woman and your future spouse is going to be a man, then this can be someone who is like a quote-unquote like traditional provider type. Like they go to work, they make the money, they do all the random like construction tasks that need to be done around the house. And if you're the woman, maybe you end up being a stay-at-home mom and you do like the cooking and the cleaning, which I'm not advocating for in any way. I'm just saying, there are some people who want that. So maybe you are one of those people, but it feels very traditional, or at least I think your future spouse has this expectation of a very traditionally gendered relationship. Now, if you are in I'm not picking up as much that there's like same-sex couples here. So if you are, LGBT and that's what you're looking for, then I think you selected the wrong pile, because the Hierophant especially, like this is just so, it's like clinically traditional in a way where counterculture or queer culture, it feels almost not included. So I'm not even really picking up like like gay relationships here. This feels very heterosexual to me. So, with the Hierophant, like I said, there is something that really does bind you two together, though. I think both of you have very strong beliefs, spiritually, religiously, when it comes to like what kind of life you want to live. You might also both like really value children, and that's one of the reasons why you're together. But the Hierophant, this is also like an institution that lasts forever. So I really do see this being like a lifelong relationship. I think you get married, you stay with this person for the rest of your life, for better or for worse, like most people say in their vows. So there is a lot of loyalty here. And with the 9 of Wands in the middle of your spread, this is a card that's all about perseverance, even when you get hurt. And so, again, I don't think this is like a perfect 100% happy all the time. I think there are issues here. I think there's conflict. I think maybe if this person's like more traditional than you or has more like gendered expectations, they might be pushing things onto you that you don't want. I feel like this person can be almost like my way or the highway, or they don't want to be questioned, like they're not that open to dialogue. And I think maybe, especially if you were raised like really religious and you are a woman, you might have been raised in such a way where you were told that, you're supposed to kind of be like seen and not heard. And that might be one of the reasons why when you enter in this relationship, you are kind of in this 8 of Swords energy of feeling disempowered. But I do think that you continuously strive to make this relationship work. I think this person does too. Because like I said with the 9 of Wands, it's a card about perseverance. It's a card about, continuously trying. You two don't give up on each other. And with the 5 of Wands here, I think that's also reiterated, because the 5 of Wands, if you look on this card, it can be a card that's about conflict. So it's them kind of like smacking each other with sticks. So I think you two do end up having kind of like little arguments here and there. But the positive side of the 501s is that, they're playing. Like, yes, it's a competition. Yes, they're kind of whacking each other, but there is like some humor in this. Like, it's not 100% ill will toward each other. And actually, when I've done like tarot readings for pets, there's this one dog that I did in particular. And when like asking about her owner, she always gave this card. And I always felt like it was like, I just really like playing. Like, I like play fighting with you. And so that's kind of the vibe of this, is that, again, I want to say, I don't think this is like a 100% negative marriage. Like, it is what it is. I think that it's definitely difficult, especially because it feels like when you first enter this relationship, maybe you're both young or naive, or you just don't know each other that well because you have not maybe lived together before or spent a ton of time together. And so there really is a learning curve here, but I think that you are able to kind of like resolve the conflict and laugh at yourselves if you like either of you get a little dramatic or ridiculous. Like, you're able to self-reflect and you're able to poke fun at yourselves, basically. And with the 5 of Pentacles at the very end of your spread here, this is also really interesting because this truthfully is a card that a lot of people kind of dread seeing in a relationship reading, but I do think it has a positive side. So before I get into that, though, I just want to say, if you notice in the spread, there are 3 5s. There's a Hierophant, which is the 5th major arcana card, the 5 of Wands, and the 5 of Pentacles. And 5s are cards that are all about change. They can be about conflict too, but conflict leads to change. It leads to resolution. It leads to growth. And so I feel like for both you and your future spouse, there's a lot of growth within this relationship, but it's not easy necessarily, but it's necessary. So anyway, back to this 5 of Pentacles. So 5 of Pentacles, this card represents 2 people. In like the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, it's 2 sickly people, like disabled people who are out in the snow. Their like clothes are tattered, and this building that's behind them is supposed to be a church, and it's like warm, but they're not in the church. They're walking outside alone. And so it can represent like poverty, physical lack. It can represent sickness. It can represent feeling left out in the cold or like emotionally neglected. So I think sometimes you do feel that way within this relationship. Like I said, not 100% positive, but it's not 100% negative here either. I think there are times where you feel like this relationship really takes a lot of resilience and perseverance to keep going, but you are so loyal to this person. I think they are very loyal to you too. And that's also represented in the card here. Because like I said, I do think there is like a positive twist to this, which is that even though these 2 people are out in the cold, they have each other. These are 2 people that stick beside each other through thick and thin. So even when external circumstances or even like circumstances within your relationship really have you questioning like how you're going to get through it, how you're going to grow, you feel like you can still rely on this person. Like, even at the end of the day, if you are arguing, that this person wants the best for you and you want the best for them, which is really beautiful. And I think that's all represented in the pile marker that you selected, which is resolving conflict. And I just want to read you like a little bit from the guidebook on this because I think it probably sums it up better than I could. Okay, so misunderstandings, disagreements, arguments, and conflict can be very distressing in a relationship, especially with someone you really love. Whether we like it or not, conflict does occur even between people who are extremely compatible. For most people, it's not possible to completely avoid conflict in a relationship. So what is a solution? Conflict actually presents an amazing opportunity. When a disagreement or misunderstanding arises, it's offering you a wonderful chance to understand yourself, your partner, and both your communication styles more clearly. When you become curt or angry with each other, what you're really saying is, I don't feel listened to, or I don't feel like you care about what I think or what I want. The real reason conflict arises is because someone feels afraid or hurt. Fear of not having our needs met and the hurt we experience when our feelings are seemingly overlooked are the most common reasons for attacking another while defending ourselves. Next time you find yourself in a disagreement with someone, don't run away, ignore it, or become aggressive. Embrace the opportunity to understand them, yourself, and the situation more clearly. So again, I do think that there is a lot to be learned from this relationship. I think, there are arguments, there are disagreements because you are learning a lot about each other and what your expectations for each other are in this relationship, but it also gives you the opportunity to really understand each other's motivations and desires more, and to understand your own motivations and desires more. And like I said, I feel like for a lot of you, maybe you enter into this relationship where you don't have like a lot of relationship experience, or you're very young generally, and so this is really like a catalyst for self-growth, but also growth for your person. And I think it's necessary in order for you to have that development of self, is to kind of be able to put yourself in another person's shoes, be able to work through conflict maturely, and still, actively decide to choose and show up for this person day in and day out. And like I said, I think this is, a relationship that does last a lifetime because you are so loyal to each other through the ups and the downs, because you are choosing to grow and learn from your disagreements or your arguments. Now, for your Romance Angels cards, the first one I got was Getting to Know Each Other, which says, as you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. So again, I feel like maybe for some of you, again, you're very religious. This is someone that you have not spent a lot of time with one-on-one before you get together, or this is someone that you maybe or have not dated for a long time before you get married. And because of that, there's really this learning curve within the relationship, within the marriage, where you are getting to know each other way more than you did like prior to the marriage. And when you get to know someone, you get to know the great parts about them. You also get to know the bad parts. And so I think, there are issues that maybe both of you have that does lead to conflict within this relationship, but that also gives you the opportunity to talk through them and emotionally mature. And I think that resolution of the conflict together and that continued persistence to continue showing up for each other and continuing to agree to show up within this relationship is what allows your bond to deepen. Like, you both feel very loyal to each other, and that's also reflected in the final Romance Angels card we pulled here, which is True Love. This says, this is the romance of a lifetime. So again, to me, this is really sticking together through thick and thin, like that Five of Pentacles, staying with each other through the good and the bad. Just so much loyalty here, so much devotion, even though it's not always easy. But most relationships aren't 100% easy all the time. So, I think if you are someone who really values loyalty, who values reliability and dependability, then this relationship will be, better suited for you than maybe someone who values like nonconformity or kind of like grand sweeping gestures. Like this is a very long-lasting relationship where you both learn a lot through the relationship with each other. And that can be positive. So congrats to you, my pile fours. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Talk to you again soon. Take care.